If you're a cozy gamer or a fan of witchy and farming things, then you'll be really excited to know that Little Witch in the Woods finally has a release date. After being in early access for over 3 years, Little Witch in the Woods finally announced its full release date for September 4th, 2025. This game launched into early access in May 2022, so it's been over 3 years now of its early access phase. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the updates that have happened throughout the game, some of the reasons why this game really kind of fell through the cracks for cozy gamers and caused a little bit of disappointment, but also what the game has to offer in its full release to help you decide whether or not you want to get it now in early access or wait for full release, or maybe just skip out on the game altogether. I will start off by saying that the current price of the game is $15.99 USD, so if you are planning on getting the game, now would be the time, as the price will increase upon full release. They haven't set an actual price yet, but if you're someone who takes price into consideration after listening to everything I have to share about the game, then just be mindful that the price right now is the lowest it'll be. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the early access game, let me tell you what Little Witch in the Woods is about. In Little Witch in the Woods, you play as Ellie, an apprentice witch who is traveling via train to the main town of this story. However, on her way, she gets really curious and decides to venture off when the train breaks down. When she does, she comes across this witch's house that she inhabits. She then finds out that she's going to be helping the nearby village and villagers. Part of the apprenticeship is to become a formal witch, so as Ellie, you will be learning how to use magic, make potions, interact with other villagers, explore, make friends, discover different creatures, and do day-to-day tasks. The game is labeled as a casual sim and magic game, so if you are someone who is a big fan of witches and simulation games, then you might enjoy this one. On top of it, it has a very charming pixel art style to it. The biggest thing with Little Witch in the Woods was that upon its release, it had big updates that happened a little bit frequently at the beginning and then stopped. So I'll give you a little bit of a timeline of how this game has been in development. Since May, the game released into early access and then had a beta update in October of 2022. But then 2 years went by and there was absolutely no movement with the game, leaving a lot of people pretty disappointed with the development of it because the game really did capture a lot of cozy gamers. It did have patches here and there, but patches are one thing, actual game updates are a different story. Patches might fix little things here and there that are wrong with the game, while updates really develop the rest of the storyline, other mechanics in the game, and introduce new ideas that get people excited to keep wanting to play it. I will recognize that indie devs and smaller teams tend to have a lot more work to do since they are on the smaller end, as opposed to big named brands that are able to pour in a lot of time, money, and personnel into development. However, the lack of communication really hinders players from wanting to engage further with a game and can really keep you from wanting to come back to it. This leads to the fact that Steam currently has the most recent reviews as mixed instead of positive or overwhelmingly positive, which kind of gives you an idea of why people get upset with the fact that this game has been developing at this pace. Here's the actual timeline of the dates of how development has been going. After the beta release in October 2022, the game had several patches in between, with the most notable first update being in April of 2024, introducing Cloud Valley. Afterwards, the next update was June 2024, introducing some fishing content. The update after that was September 10th, 2024, with some cat content updates for our cat lovers out there. Then in November of 2024, they came out with an update regarding cats and cat furniture, journal, distractions and crafting, and new work tools. And the last two updates were December 2024, adding customization features, room overhaul, and other convenience improvements, and March of this year, adding a friendship and crafting update, as well as a bait system, item exchange feature, and new improvements to the UI. With the most recent announcement being July of 2025, that they finally came out with an official release date. As you can see, these updates really started to pick up over the course of this last year, but before that, it was 2 years of silence. Just patchworks here and there, and being told that the game would be worked on. And these are the reasons why people became disinterested in the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the game is bad. And here's why I'm excited about this game. First of all, I'm a pixel art lover, so if you have a game in pixel art, you've already got my attention. And the dialogue in this game is actually really quirky. There's a very strong narrative push to it. I did start playing it once they announced that the full release was coming out, and I've been thoroughly enjoying just the banter, the back and forth, and the narrative style of the game. If you're someone that isn't fond of narrative or isn't too happy or excited about heavy text features to go through, then you might not like that about this game, but I think it adds a lot to the game with character development and just the whimsy of the storytelling. The overall mechanics of the game are pretty straightforward. I've been playing it on the Steam Deck and it runs really well. I will say that the general UI of the game is very, very small. So when I docked my Steam Deck, I couldn't really get the image to become bigger on the screen. And that's something I would say does need to have some improvement, because reading text, especially in games that have a lot of text in them, in a very, very small font, is really annoying. So hopefully by the time the full release comes out, they'll have fixed some of the features of making the game just look a little bit bigger so people have that accessibility. I also love the magical element to it, creating potions, trying to figure out how to use like the little witches area of the house, and exploring. I love foraging. I love getting to know other characters and villagers, increasing your relationships, fishing, and doing all of the other things that are pretty typical in cozy games. Now here's what to expect with the full release, which is what has me really interested in this game. The full version of the game will include a new theme, repaired areas of the village, new villagers, and various new stories. There will also be new features, quality of life improvement, optimization, and bug fixes. However, the devs don't really list anything more from there, as their updates are going to be ever growing. So right now, I am interested in them adding some of those elements into the game, but it does leave me with a little bit of questioning what could those improvements be. You've got games in early access like Fields of Mystria that are doing so great. So I really hope that this team is able to bring forth a full release of the game that is spectacular. Regardless, I'm super excited to try out Little Witch in the Woods in its full release version. I'm still going to dabble into some of the early access stuff just to get myself familiarized a little bit more with the game. But once the full release hits, I really hope that this game doesn't disappoint, and I'll make sure to upload a review video at that time. However, if you are interested in a first look of the game, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video of it. For more cozy and gaming content, especially reviews, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if this video was helpful or there was anything in here that you liked, make sure to give it a like. And from one bichota to another, stay cozy and see you next time. Adios!